We're in the heat of summer, and right about now I usually receive a few letters from especially younger viewers lamenting that they can't buy the more expensive hunting rifles that are out there. I definitely understand that, and so I thought I'll make a video explaining how I did things when I had no money, like a lot of us start out. And I guess the best buys right now, and for a while, are these converted military rifles. And the people overlook them. I don't overlook them. They definitely don't look like a Blaser R8 or a Tikka T3. And I think that's part of what makes people think that they have to own these newer guns. The internet just shows you what's newest on the market, which is a good thing. Anyhow, this is a P17 Enfield that somebody put a lot of work into. I shot it for the first time. The bore was excellent. So what are we talking about price-wise? Well, I can't remember, but it was under $400. I had this old scope around. It's a red field, wide field, very good scope. You may not know the caliber right offhand. It's a 358 Norma Magnum. I set the rounds on the table here. A 358 Norma is a very powerful round. Again, it's often overlooked. It's actually suitable for most African game. It's an amazing round. I just fired it. There's a lot of recoil. When I fired, the fore-end tip moved forward. I tapped it back down, so I'll have to put some adhesive there. I'm just mentioning that because I doubt that this rifle has been fired in probably 20 or 30 years. So I cleaned the bore and looked over the action. Everything seemed to be fine. And you can't see it, but it's a wonderfully accurate rifle. I'll just show you a couple of other features, but I really didn't want to focus only on this gun. Almost every gun shop has these converted custom quote-unquote rifles where people have either done a lot of the work themselves in the 50s, 60s, 70s, or they hired somebody to do it. This one has, I think, a Douglas barrel, probably maybe even a Douglas Premium from a couple of the markings. The action we know is excellent. These Enfields, not the Lee Enfield, this P17 or P14 is another version. One is American, one is English. These are the actions that usually have ears on the back of the action, but these have been milled off. They left the bolt handle the way it is. It's caulk on close, so there's resistance you can see. I never minded caulk on close, and then it springs open. To remove the bolt is simply this lever, a lot like a Mauser. There's nothing fancy about the bottom metal. That's just looks like military issue to me. I always thought the trigger guard was well shaped on the P17, P14. Safety works. Safety's excellent. Trigger's good. The stock is fine. Quite often, if you're looking at these, that's why I guess they're $300 or $400, which is totally undervalued for what they are. You might see a crack or two in the tang. That's typical just because of the bedding. This one is glass bedded, but if you do see a crack or two, I mean, they're very easy to repair. And for that price, you're virtually getting a rifle that in many cases is just as accurate as anything new. And you're paying so little, and they have a lot of character to them. And this one definitely reminds you that you're shooting a big gun, but the stock design is good. The recoil is severe. You'll see how badly it pushes me back. We're in the middle of a heat wave here, so I don't have my padded shooting jacket. Anyhow, let's shoot this 358 Norma, and you'll see it's a kicker, but not too bad. It's really funny. I'll show you the target. That second shot is not quite in the center of the bullseye, but it's pretty close. So for all the recoil, and I just put this scope on, this is a really excellent rifle. And you can see the fore-end tip has moved forward. But like I said, I think that these are a steal. And I don't know if you watch more of my videos, but I bought a 257 Roberts on a Springfield action. Somebody must have put 100 hours of work into that rifle, and it shot to almost one hole. It was remarkably accurate. Anyhow, we'll pause now and move on to another really cool rifle. So we just looked at the 358 Norma Magnum semi-custom rifle. Of course, everybody always tells me they should have left them in the original condition. 100% true. If they were unmodified, they'd be worth far more than these rifles that they made up. But even though they invested a lot of money in them, they're not worth that much. Anyway, there's another way to go if you either can't find a semi-custom or you don't want one, and that is just find I guess you'd say poor condition or fair condition hunting rifle that somebody used as a tool. And here's one of my favorite bolt actions. It's actually, it's a Krico. There's a longer German name, but they're commonly known as Krico, made in Stuttgart in Germany. This is an all-steel rifle. It has one of the smoothest actions. I think that's the composition of the steel. I know people like smooth actions. This one had more surface rust when I bought it, but I haven't really cleaned it up that much. And you know, this is a minimal cost rifle, but there's absolutely no shame in buying a completely functional rifle that is exceptionally accurate, that doesn't look like $1 million. I did that for years. I just wanted to have a rifle for shooting and hunting. This is still going to outlast me and probably somebody else. Great rifle. Usually people want to know what caliber. It's a 6.5 by 55. It has a removable magazine. It has an excellent safety. I'm not aware of any issues. I haven't seen any videos showing anything bad happening with this rifle. I wish the rear sight was adjustable for elevation, but that's fine. It's not, so I just have to compensate with how I aim. It hits the bullseye no problem. I'm just shooting at 50 yards. Is the stock fantastic? Not really, no. I mean, kind of air rifle quality walnut, but it's serviceable. Has a decent butt plate, so it's not slipping all over. Somebody did something here with the bolt. This is a very common modification because when they were opening the action, they were hitting a scope bell in the back, so they took out their file, and this can be improved so that it doesn't look so crude. And you can see some, you know, rust freckling there and on the barrel. This is all without it, you know, normal attention. So 6.5 by 55, minimal recoil, highly effective round, at least as effective as the 6.5 Creedmoor that everybody loves. So I thought between those two, I would probably be, I hope, addressing your letters for those folks that don't want to spend $2,000 or even $1,000. I actually like those semi-custom ones because they normally represent a phenomenal value, and you've got a very interesting action. Yeah, no, the things are not perfect on them. I don't really care if there's a crack or two in the tang. I just fix that with epoxy, and generally they don't go anywhere, and you don't have to worry about using these rifles. They're not perfect when you get them, so you can take them on your ATV or horseback or whatever. But let's shoot this Krico, and thankfully it has iron sights. That's even better for me. So we'll take a couple of shots, see how she shoots. So here's the Krico, and very slick action, you'll see. Very smooth. Yeah, I think I can make out the shadow of the bullet holes in the target. I actually wouldn't need a scope for deer hunting. Well, not the way I hunt deer, which is like 200 yards or less. And with the 6.5 by 55, I use this ammunition from, I think it's made in Serbia or Croatia, just excellent ammo. Anyway, you know, you can tell when an action, even from watching a video, is slick and just an effortless gun to own. But if I feel like it, I'll put some kind of 4-power scope on it. And for virtually $500 or less, you're set and you're at no disadvantage at all. Even compared to a $10,000 custom rifle, you'll be just as effective with this Krico or that 358 Norma Magnum. So it really, I would just scour the used gun racks. It's fun having a look at all these different guns. You'll end up with something unique that other people don't own. If you're worried about something breaking down, these very rarely break down. Everybody's saying you can't get parts, but I don't need parts. They just keep working. Well, I hope that all makes sense to you. I thought I'd do my best to show you a couple other different ways to go. These options are not actually self-evident because you have to find these rifles on your own. They're, in most cases, well, for the semi-customs, you're getting a one-of-a-kind rifle like that 358. And for the ones that are just, you know, like this Krico that maybe had a hard life, again, you're not going to find these all over the place. But there are more and even more interesting and excellent values. And then most of the time, if you clean them up a little bit, you can sell them for more after you use them. Anyhow, I hope that's good and covers the ground that it needed to. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Take care until then. Bye.